This episode is brought to you by the Invested Alignment Assessment 25 questions that show you exactly where you are and which areas need your self love and attention. It's free and the link is in the description. A heavy oak coffee table leg was snatched from under the table and was used to inflict great bodily harm. I did not see it coming. Thank you for joining me under the beautiful banyan. This series is called Proof of Life, and this is episode 8, 5 of a kind. A few years ago, maybe 3 years ago, a friend of mine tried to teach me how to play poker. I ain't learned a thing. Did not retain a thing. I do not know how to play poker, and I wasted a few of his dollars. But I learned something about life. What I learned was the strongest hand in poker that you could possibly have is called 5 of a kind. And it's only possible if you have a wild card like a joker. Turns out I've had 5 of a kind in my hand for a long time, but not the kind you want. No, the one I had was super dangerous, extremely unsupportive, and extremely unhealthy. In my life, I've had these 5 separate different relationships with these 5 separate different people. And what I came to realize in this endeavor to learn to play poker was it really wasn't 5 different relationships. It was one relationship. It was one spirit. 5 different people, one spirit. 5 different cards, right? I'm going to give you the cards. Card 1. While a lot had happened in my home prior to 1987 proved to be like a boiling point. What started as there not being coffee in the house to be made for him escalated quickly to a heavy oak coffee table leg was snatched from under the table and was used to inflict great bodily harm that resulted in a lengthy hospital stay, tens of stitches, blood everywhere, traumatized children, and police. It was not the first time he had inflicted great bodily harm. It was not the first time that he was extremely dangerous and violent and brutal, but it was the one that stood out the most to that point. Card 2 is March 1989. My foster mother had just passed, and I was in pain, heartbreaking pain. This was my first real heartbreak. And a close relative of mine, a really, really, really close relative of mine, saw an opening and took it. In a heated argument that shouldn't have even got to the point that it got to because it wasn't even a big deal. But in a heated argument, this person said, "That's why that bitch is dead." That wasn't the first betrayal, but that certainly was the first one of that magnitude that had that weight to it, that was that malicious and heartbreaking. It broke trust. And unfortunately, that would not be the last. Card 3. This one has too many situations and instances to count. Too many. But we'll say it started around 1993 and it ran up through 2005. What I experienced was a relentless spirit of envy and jealousy. Offering herself to me and I had dated or was currently in relationship with, spreading lies about me, my children, even abuse, spreading lies about abuse. Starting fights, public jealousy rants, any foolery that you can think probably happened. Nothing was off limits. This was not conflict or disagreement or difference of opinion. This was 100% pure, premeditated malice. That's what this was. Card 4, 2003. This one broke my heart. It broke my heart because I just didn't think it could happen. I didn't think it would happen. And because it blindsided me, I did not see it coming. A relative that I loved like I birthed him myself. 20 years of non-contingent love, support, just always being there and loving on the hardest I could. All of that gone in a matter of minutes. All because I made a decision to establish a boundary to protect him, myself, and my children. The boundary set it off. The boundary set off clearly what was already there. In 2003, he chose to betray that love, even join forces with Car 3 because he knew that Car 3 hated my guts. He knew that Car 3 had intentional malice towards me. He knew that Car 3 would eagerly join his camps. For years after that, I would cry at just the mention of his name because it broke my heart that bad. It took me years to get over him. The mention of his name would have me cry because I missed him that much, because I loved him that much. Some years later, he came back and he apologized. And it didn't take super long. He came back and he apologized. And I accepted his apology, but I never fooled with him after that. And every time I saw him for many, 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 many years after that, he would always say, why can't we just be what we were? Because you broke that part of who we were. I could never trust him again to be in any type of relational dynamic with him, ever. Trust was broken. And then card 5. Y'all remember I told y'all in order to have 5 of a kind, you have to have a wild card, and generally it's a joker, right? This the joker. Literally and figuratively, this is the damn joker. Card 5. This one is a carbon copy. When I say carbon copy of card 3, but she had to put some on top of it. So she is, if it's possible, she took it a little bit further. She doubled down a little bit. She added her own little to it. But when I tell you carbon copy, just a little bolder and a little more exaggerated. Way more animated and a little more exaggerated. But see, with this joker, pun intended, I had warnings. I absolutely had warnings. I had red flags. I had signs. I had somebody running around with the whole bull red cape, and I chose to believe differently. It started in 2004 as jabs, slights, backbiting, bone carrying. If you from old school, you know what I mean. Take a bone, carry a bone carrying. It started with that. And despite several warnings, all the red flags, I still decided to give her another opportunity in 2014. Now we talk about 10 years later. Still decided to give her another opportunity to show me differently in 2014. By 2018, shit went to hell in a handbasket. She spiraled. And she spiraled because of her choices and her decisions. I said, you know what? I'm good. I don't want no parts of this. I'm closing the doors on this relationship. And once I said that, she lost her shit. Her response was a manipulative, simmering explosion of attacks on my character, attacks on my integrity, full-blown lies, public projections, delusions. She lost her shit. She absolutely lost her shit because I said, no, thank you. I don't want to be in relation with you anymore. And because she knew based on card 4 and card 3 and card 1, I meant what I said. And she took that rejection and showed her whole ass. Meanwhile, every time that I would see her, she would damn near jump in my arms. Just as polite and, hey, how are you? I love you. Like damn near jumping in my arms, smiling and just so excited to see me. And the moment I leave from around her, she's sending text messages to anybody whose phone number she got. Not mine though. But anybody's phone number she got, she's sending a message like, I hate her. She's evil. Like crazy making. Absolutely crazy making. Real quick. This episode is brought to you by the Digital Alignment Pack from the Beautiful Banyan Institute. The Core 4 course, 3 ebooks, Invested Alignment, Connected Self, and Choose Your Words, along with 6 months inside the Gen X Rebellion community with other women just like you on the same journey. If what I'm sharing is resonating, this is where you go deeper. The link is in the description. All right, let's get back to the story. For years, I thought that I had these 5 separate unhealthy relationship dynamics. And even for a minute, I was questioning myself like, maybe it's me. I am the common denominator. I am a big proponent of self reflection and holding yourself accountable and being responsible for the people that are in your lives, because to the greatest possible degree, they are in your life because you allowed them in. They didn't kick the door in, you let them in, that joker. And so for a long time, I thought, this has got to be me. This has got to be something that I am doing or not doing. It wasn't until recently, like the last few years, where I realized, like, no, Maria, in another situation, absolutely look at yourself again, reevaluate yourself again. But in this situation, this is not 5 different people. This is one spirit. It's not about it being these 5 separate relationships. Although these are, of course, 5 different people, the relationships were all the same. And the relationships were all the same because the spirit was all the same. All 5 of these people were related by blood. Okay. Card 1 was the only one of those cards who was officially diagnosed with a mental unwellness. But all 5 are genetically and energetically connected. So that hand was dealt before I was ever in the room. And for me, the one holding the cards, the one in control of what happens with these cards, I made a decision. I'm going to fold my hand. That's another one in the poker terms I learned. I didn't learn much about poker, but I learned stuff about life in the process of trying to learn poker. I decided, Maria, you holding the cards. You got this 5 of a kind in your hand. You get to decide if you're going to hold these cards or if you're going to fold your hand. I chose the latter. I folded. I'm not available for that, and I don't deserve that. I knew that. And with the exception of card 2, I folded that hand completely. And even with that card, there are some very healthy boundaries. Because this 5 of a kind were all related to me, with the exception of 1, I felt like I had a responsibility to deal with the foolishness and reconcile over and over again and make amends when I wasn't the one who made the disruption. Like, I just felt like this responsibility that was not mine. And then I had to remember what my foster mother taught me on one of those late night talks on that front porch. Family is determined by how people treat you. Relatives are determined by blood. Once I saw the pattern, I realized, like, no, wait, this is not about me being responsible for anything. This is not about blaming them. This is not about me feeling guilty or having any shame around disconnecting. This is not about any of that. This is about the unwellness and the wounds that governed their life, their decision making, their choices, their behavior, how they showed up with me. That's what it was about. It wasn't about the person. I don't have an issue with the people. I have an issue with the spirit. The spirit does not align with me. That realization restored my faith in people, because for a minute I was kind of like, I don't want to say that I was pulling away from people as a whole, but I was very pessimistic. And having this realization, this understanding, this acceptance restored my faith in humanity, in people, and more importantly, it restored my faith and my trust in my own discernment, in my own enoughness, in my own this thing is not a you thing. This is just a spirit thing. This is just a misalignment thing, and it is okay. So it definitely stretched me, but it also gave me so much more than it took, for sure. All right. So the belief and the reframe. The belief was that I had experienced way too many unhealthy relationships and that I was the common denominator. That was the belief. The reframe is, I haven't had too many or a lot of unhealthy relationships. I've had the same experience with the same spirit wearing different faces. That's it. That's all. Actionable integration. At the end of every story, I give you what I call actionable integration. Small steps that you can take action on and integrate into your life today. If this story resonated with you, or if you feel like you've had some five of a kind situations or experiences, here are some things to consider. Number one, track the pattern. That's what I did. I looked at the pattern of the people. Track the pattern. Write down the essence of the spirit, not the person. What keeps showing up? Number two, name the spirit, not the face. Stop blaming names. Call out the energy. So when I would have these conversations, when I was still kind of cutting ties or trying to reestablish the relationship or whatever that looks like, I would call out the behavior like, this is what I'm talking about. This thing right here, this thing right here, not like you horrible, you a mess, you full of shit, no, not that. You are a liar. No, this is the behavior I'm experiencing with you. Right? So call out the behavior. And then number three, fold the hand. You don't owe anyone proximity just because they are related to you by blood or genetically. Fold your hand rather than betray yourself. So if all else fails, if you have the conversations, if you have the come to Jesus meetings, if you have the talks where things are going to get better, I'm going to that whole thing, and they do not, and it's a choice between them or you. And when I say them or you, I mean like your peace, your sanity, your wellness, your self-love, like those things. If it comes down to a choice between you and them, fold your hand. Do not betray yourself. So there's that. Those are my seeds for today. Thank you so much for giving me your time and attention. I truly appreciate you. Until next time, continue to get invested in your alignment. Drop some seeds that'll be of support to somebody else. And you keep being a beautiful banyan. If this spoke to you, the Ultimate Alignment Pack, the Digital Alignment Pack, or the Digital Ebook Bundle is where you go deeper. The link is in the description. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe.